Hey everyone, welcome back to Ageless Mind and Body, where we uncover the real science behind aging well, with clarity, energy, and confidence at every stage of life. Now let me ask you something. Have you been told that nuts are healthy, that they're the perfect snack, especially as you get older? Well, here's the part no one really talks about. Some of the most common nuts sitting in your pantry right now may be slowly harming your health after the age of 60. We're talking about impaired memory, rising blood pressure, struggling erections, even kidney stress, all while thinking you're making a smart choice. Sounds shocking. You're not alone. Most seniors I've worked with genuinely believe they're helping their bodies, when in fact they may be doing more harm than good. I'm Dr. John Miller, and I've spent over 20 years helping older adults reclaim their vitality, sleep better, think sharper, and feel more alive by making a few simple, powerful food changes. In today's video, I'm going to break down 8 common nuts. 4 of them can become daily allies for your brain, your heart, and, yes, even your sex life. But 4 others. They're disguised as healthy, yet they quietly disrupt medications, spike blood sugar, and promote inflammation. So if you're over 60 or you love someone who is stay tuned, this is one of those lessons you'll wish you learned sooner. Let's get into it. 4 recommended nuts for seniors. 1. Brazil nuts, testosterone and thyroid booster. Now let's kick things off with one of the most powerful yet often overlooked foods you can add to your daily routine. The humble Brazil nut. It might not look like much, but trust me, this little guy is a total game changer, especially if you're over 60 and looking to feel sharper, stronger, and more like yourself again. So, here's the deal. Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium on the planet. Just one nut contains more than your entire daily requirement of this essential trace mineral. And no, this isn't some obscure nutrient that doesn't really matter. Selenium plays a massive role in how your body works, especially when it comes to energy focus and hormonal health. One of the biggest benefits, it supports your thyroid, the little butterfly-shaped gland in your neck that quietly controls your metabolism, mood, and energy levels. As we get older, the thyroid tends to slow down a bit. You might notice it as low-energy weight gain, or even feeling foggy and cold all the time. That's where selenium comes in. It helps your thyroid stay balanced and active so you feel more energized and clear-headed. But that's not all. Selenium is also directly tied to testosterone production. And before you think that's just about sex drive, think again. Testosterone affects your sleep, your strength, your motivation, even your sense of purpose. When it drops, everything feels a little dull. One Brazil nut a day can help your body naturally support healthy testosterone levels without pills, powders, or complicated routines. And here's something really cool. The fats in Brazil nuts also help protect something called your myelin sheath. That's the outer layer around your nerves, kind of like insulation on a wire. When that layer stays healthy, your movements stay smooth and your reflexes stay sharp. When it breaks down, everything slows, including your connection to the world around you. Now, before you go eat a whole bag of them, here's the key: more is not better. Brazil nuts are incredibly potent. I recommend just 1, maybe 2 per day. Chew them well and keep them in the fridge if you can. It's a tiny daily habit that can lead to a huge return over time. Trust me, your body will thank you. 2. Almonds, bone and brain defender. All right, let's talk about a nut you probably already have in your pantry. The classic almond. You've seen them everywhere. Maybe you snack on them from time to time, but what you might not realize is just how powerful almonds can be when it comes to protecting your bones and your brain, especially as you move past 60. There's something comforting about almonds, right? The light crunch, the soft sweetness, the kind of snack that doesn't try too hard. But behind that humble little nut is a nutritional powerhouse. Almonds are loaded with calcium and magnesium, two minerals that your body needs to keep your bones strong and healthy. After the age of 60, bone density starts to decline faster, especially for women. Falls become more dangerous, fractures take longer to heal, and even a simple misstep can knock you out of commission for months. That's why having a natural source of both calcium and magnesium in your daily diet is a smart move, and almonds do it beautifully. Now, here's the part that really gets me excited: brain health. That thin brown skin on almonds. It's packed with antioxidants, especially vitamin E and flavonoids that help protect your brain cells from aging. It's like armor for your memory. In fact, some studies have even shown that eating almonds regularly may slow down cognitive decline. And if you've ever forgotten where you put your keys or walked into a room and blanked on why, you know how valuable that is. But wait, there's more. Almonds are also a great source of fiber, and that's a big deal because digestion tends to slow down as we get older. Constipation isn't glamorous, but nearly half of seniors deal with it often in silence. Almonds help keep things moving naturally, and that makes a bigger difference in your daily mood and energy than you might think. So, what's the sweet spot? I usually recommend 15 to 20 almonds a day. Raw or dry, roasted, unsalted, if possible. Chew them well, especially if you have dental work or sensitive teeth. And don't rush it. Let them be a mindful part of your day. These aren't just snacks. They're your daily dose of strength and clarity, all wrapped up in one crunchy little bite. 3. Walnuts, brain's favorite. Nut. Next up is a nut that not only looks like your brain, but actually loves your brain. Yep, I'm talking about walnuts. These crinkly little guys are more than just a trail mix staple or something your grandma used in holiday baking. They're one of the best things you can eat if you want to keep your mind sharp and your memory strong, especially as the years go on. So here's the fun part. Walnuts are rich in something called ALA, which is a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Now, omega-3s are kind of like premium oil for your brain. They help keep your brain cell membranes flexible and healthy, which is super important because as we age, those membranes tend to stiffen up. And when that happens, communication between brain cells slows down. And suddenly, you're standing in the kitchen wondering what you came in for. Sound familiar? A little ALA in your day can help those connections stay strong and smooth. But it doesn't stop there. Walnuts are also packed with polyphenols, which are powerful antioxidants that help reduce inflammation in your brain. And if you've been with me for a while, you know inflammation is one of the sneakiest causes of brain fog, memory loss, and even conditions like Alzheimer's. Walnuts help calm that down gently, quietly, but effectively. And here's something that surprises a lot of people. Walnuts naturally contain melatonin. Yup, the same hormone your body uses to regulate sleep. So having a small handful in the evening may actually help you wind down and sleep more soundly, which, let's be honest, gets tougher as we get older. I usually tell my patients to go for about 7 to 9 walnut halves a day. That's just a small palmful. Nothing crazy. But because the healthy fats in walnuts are sensitive to light and heat, keep them in the fridge to stay fresh longer. And don't worry about the slight bitterness in the skin. That's where a lot of the antioxidants live. So, yeah, if you want to protect your memory, think more clearly, maybe even sleep a little better tonight. Reach for the nut that looks like your brain. It might just be your brain's new best friend. 4. Pistachios. Blood pressure, vision, and blood sugar. Ally. All right, now, let's talk about a nut that doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves. Pistachios. They might be small, but they're mighty, especially when it comes to supporting 3 things a lot of us start worrying more about after 60: blood pressure, vision, and blood sugar. And the best part, they're delicious and fun to eat, like nature's version of popping bubble wrap. Pistachios are loaded with potassium, and I mean really loaded. just one serving has more potassium than most fruits or vegetables. Why does that matter? Because potassium helps balance out the effects of sodium, which can raise your blood pressure. And let's be honest, even if you're trying to eat healthy, sneaky salt is hiding in everything these days. Pistachios help bring that pressure back down naturally and without medication for many people. But here's something you might not know. They're also great for your eyes. Pistachios are rich in two powerful antioxidants called lutein and zeaxanthin. These guys help protect your retinas and filter out harmful blue light. So, if you're spending a lot of time on screens, or you're just trying to keep your vision crisp, as the years roll by, a handful of pistachios can give your eyes a nice boost. And don't forget about blood sugar. Pistachios have a low glycemic index, meaning they don't spike your blood sugar when you eat them. They also pack in a good amount of fiber, which helps slow digestion and keeps your energy levels steady, no crashes or sugar spikes. That's especially important if you're managing diabetes or prediabetes, which is super common after 60. Now, here's what I love most. They're still in the shell. That means you have to slow down and actually crack them open to eat them, which naturally keeps you from overeating. It turns snacking into a mindful little ritual. Plus, seeing that pile of empty shells gives you a visual cue like, okay, I've had enough. I recommend around 49 pistachios a day. Sounds like a lot, but it's actually just 1 ounce. Try to go for the unsalted or lightly salted kind, and if you have arthritis or sensitive hands, look for ones that are already half opened to make life easier. Small nut, big benefits, that's pistachios for you. Now that we've gone over the 4 powerhouse nuts you really should be eating after 60, let's switch gears for a moment. Because here's the thing, not all nuts are created equal. Some of the ones you've probably been told are healthy. Maybe even eating every day could actually be working against you. I'm talking about sneaky culprits that mess with your digestion, spike your blood sugar, trigger inflammation, or even interfere with your medication. And the worst part, most people have no idea. They're marketed as healthy snacks tossed into energy bars, salads, or trail mixes without a second thought. But especially as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to the hidden effects of certain foods, even the ones that seem innocent. So in this next part, I want to walk you through 4 specific nuts that I recommend most seniors cut way back on, or better yet, avoid altogether. It's not about fear or restriction. It's about knowledge, about giving your body the best shot to stay sharp, energized, and in control. Ready? Let's dive in. 1. Peanuts, inflammation and toxin risk. All right, let's start with a big one. Peanuts. Now, I know this might come as a surprise because peanuts are everywhere. They're in snack mixes, energy bars, even labeled as heart healthy on some packaging. But the truth is, if you're over 60, peanuts might be doing you more harm than good, and most people have no idea. First off, peanuts aren't technically even nuts. They're legumes, which means they grow underground, and that little detail actually makes a big difference. Because of how and where they grow, peanuts are especially prone to mold contamination, specifically a type of toxin called aflatoxin. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it, but over time it can build up in your body and put serious strain on your liver. For older adults whose detox systems naturally slow down, that's a big deal. But mold isn't the only concern. Peanuts are also very high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, don't get me wrong, we all need some omega-6, but the problem comes when there's too much of it and not enough omega-3 to balance it out. That imbalance can trigger chronic inflammation in the body, and I'm talking the kind that shows up as stiff joints, brain fog, and higher blood pressure. It's not loud or obvious at first, but it wears you down slowly. And if you're grabbing those salted roasted peanuts from the store, you're likely getting a double dose of problems. Most commercial peanuts are loaded with salt hydrogenated oils and even added sugars. That's a recipe for heart stress, water retention, and blood pressure spikes, the exact opposite of what you want at this stage in life. Plus, here's something most people don't know. Peanuts can actually interfere with certain medications. If you're on blood thinners or meds for cholesterol or blood pressure, some of the compounds in peanuts, especially the vitamin K, can make those drugs less effective. That's a hidden risk not many doctors mention. So, am I saying you can never eat peanuts again? Not necessarily, but if they're a daily habit for you, it might be time to rethink that. There are safer, more supportive options out there, and we'll get to those. But first, let's talk about another sneaky nut that seems innocent until it's not. 2. Cashews, blood sugar and kidney stone, risk. Now, let's talk about cashews. And I know this one might hurt a little. They're creamy, they're satisfying, they feel like the fancy nut, right? I get it. People love cashews. They're in everything from trail mixes to energy bars to dairy-free cheese spreads. But here's the honest truth for folks. Over 60 cashews may not be doing your body any favors, and in some cases, they could actually be setting you up for some serious trouble. First off, cashews are surprisingly high in carbohydrates for a nut. Just a small handful can give you around 9 grams of carbs, which doesn't sound like much, but if you're dealing with blood sugar issues, even that little bump can cause spikes. And the thing is, those spikes might not feel dramatic right away. They sneak up on you in the form of energy crashes, foggy thinking, or that off feeling a couple of hours after eating. If you're managing diabetes or prediabetes, cashews aren't the most blood sugar-friendly choice. But blood sugar isn't the only red flag. Cashews are also rich in something called oxalates natural compounds that can mess with how your body processes calcium. When oxalates bind with calcium in your gut, your body absorbs less of that essential mineral. And over time, that can make your bones weaker, which is the last thing we want as we get older. Even worse, those oxalates can build up and contribute to kidney stone formation. If you've ever had one of those, you know it's no joke. There's also the physical side of things. Cashews have that smooth, curved shape that makes them oddly easy to choke on, especially for older adults with slower swallowing reflexes or dry mouth from medications. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it can be scary. Oh, and here's something most people don't realize. Raw cashews are actually toxic, like poison ivy toxic. The cashews you buy in stores aren't really raw. They've been steamed and processed to remove those harmful compounds. But that process also strips away a lot of the natural nutrients. So what you're left with is a nut that feels healthy, but doesn't really deliver. Bottom line, cashews might taste great, but if you're over 60, they're probably not worth the risks. There are better options, and we've still got a couple more to cover. 3. Macadamia nuts, silent weight, gain. All right, let's move on to macadamia nuts. Now I'll admit these ones are tempting. They've got that smooth, buttery texture that just melts in your mouth, and they feel kind of luxurious, like a special treat you'd reward yourself with after a long day. But if you're over 60 and trying to stay in control of your weight, energy, and overall health, macadamias might be quietly working against you. Here's the thing, macadamia nuts are really high in calories and fat. I'm talking about over 200 calories and 22 grams of fat in just 1 ounce. That's basically a small handful. And look, fat isn't the enemy, but the type of fat and the portion size absolutely matter, especially as we age. Our metabolism naturally slows down, we're often less active, and it gets a lot easier to gain weight without even realizing it. That's what I call silent weight gain. You're not overeating, you're not snacking all day, but little by little, the pounds start to creep on, and suddenly your energy dips. Your clothes feel tighter, and you're not sure why. And it's not just about weight. Macadamia nuts are also one of the highest in saturated fat among all nuts. Saturated fat raises LDL cholesterol, that's the bad kind, and puts extra pressure on your heart. If you're already managing blood pressure or cholesterol levels, this could be making things harder without you even knowing it. Now here's something a lot of people don't think about gallbladder issues. That high fat content can actually trigger gallbladder attacks in people who are prone to stones, which, by the way, becomes more common as we get older. I've seen patients end up in the ER from what they thought was just a little snack. And let's not forget about dental health. Macadamias are dense and hard. For anyone with crowns, bridges, or sensitive teeth, biting into one of these can mean a cracked tooth or a costly trip to the dentist. Trust me, it happens more often than you'd think. So, while macadamia nuts might seem harmless or even healthy, they can quietly add stress to your heart, your waistline, and your wallet. At this stage in life, it's worth choosing options that truly support you, not just taste good in the moment. 4. Pine nuts, medication disruptor. Now, the last one on our list might surprise you. Pine nuts. They're tiny, they look innocent, and they show up in all kinds of fancy recipes, from homemade pesto to gourmet salads. But don't let their small size fool you. Pine nuts can be a sneaky source of trouble, especially for those of us navigating health after 60. One of the strangest things about pine nuts is something called pine mouth. Sounds made up, right? But it's real and unpleasant. After eating certain types of pine nuts, some people experience a strong, bitter, metallic taste in their mouth that can last for days, even weeks. Water tastes off food becomes unappealing, and before you know it, you're avoiding meals altogether. Now, for someone young and healthy, that might just be annoying, but for older adults, especially those already struggling with appetite, weight loss, or dehydration, that weird little side effect can spiral into something more serious. But that's just the start. Pine nuts can also interfere with the way your body processes medications, especially those that are metabolized by the liver. That includes a lot of common prescriptions for blood pressure, cholesterol, and mood. The problem is, most people, and honestly, even some doctors, don't realize there could be a connection. If you're taking medication and your results suddenly shift, pine nuts could quietly be part of the problem. They also oxidize easily. That means the healthy fats in pine nuts can go rancid pretty quickly, especially if they've been sitting on a shelf for a while or stored improperly. And when those fats oxidize, they don't help your body, they fuel inflammation. If you're already dealing with joint pain, arthritis, or any kind of inflammatory condition, that's the last thing you need. And let's talk about size and texture. Pine nuts are tiny and slick, which makes them a choking hazard, especially for seniors with dry mouth from medications or changes in their swallowing reflexes. You might not even notice it, but the risk is real. So while pine nuts might seem trendy or elegant, they come with a surprising list of risks. And at this stage in life, we want our food to support our health, not complicate it. There are safer, more nourishing options out there, and your body will thank you for choosing them. So there you have it, the truth about nuts after 60. Some, like Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, can truly become daily allies for your heart-brain energy and overall vitality. But others, like peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts, might be quietly working against you, causing inflammation, messing with medications, or simply making you feel less like yourself. The most important thing to remember is that your body still listens. Even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond the choices you make every day, even small ones, like which nuts you snack on, can have a powerful ripple effect. It's not about being perfect. It's about being informed, being intentional, and giving your body what it truly needs to thrive. So next time you reach into the pantry, take a second to think about what you've learned here. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight. Just start with one change, one better choice, and let that be your signal to your body that you're still in the game. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone you care about. Until next time, stay strong, stay sharp, and stay ageless.